reveling in uncreating uncertainty or creating uncertainty. No doubt those characteristics served him well on the campaign trail. But on the global stage, as the most powerful person in the world, he's got some people unsettled because Donald Trump has wasted no time in breaking with convention. CNN Jim Shudo tonight joins us with more. So Trump has broken with traditional protocol in the ways he's contacting foreign leaders. What have you learned?
No question. And some of this substantial protocol. I spoke with a diplomat from a very close U.S. ally today who said that in the wake of Trump's victory, they had to reach out to multiple contacts inside the Trump camp before they could figure out who to speak to arrange a call with their head of state. They finally did. It was more than a day after their victory when they were later in the queue than some other not-so-close allies. And, there's a little bit of diplomatic pique there, maybe, but there's also genuine confusion about who these major allies and foreign powers need to speak with in the Trump administration. In addition to that, Anderson, the Trump team has still not contacted the State Department for any help in these contacts. And that's not just to, get the two leaders on a phone, but it's for the option of having briefings with the State Department, with the president-elect, before you have these phone calls to know what the key issues are before you begin those first key conversations. I mean, does this have U.S. allies genuinely nervous? It's early, I would say, for them to be genuinely nervous. There's certainly confusion, but about who to contact in the campaign, but also just based on the candidates' statements during the campaign, there is genuine substantive confusion about what a Trump foreign policy looks like. You have the first meeting is going to be with the Japanese Prime Minister. That is tomorrow. Japan's going to have the question, did you mean it when you said that you want to nuclearize Asia, that you consider Japan and South Korea, for instance, having nuclear weapons, breaking with decades of U.S. policy? NATO allies, particularly those in Eastern Europe, are going to want to know how much Donald Trump wants to stand up to Russia. They also want to know, did he mean it when he said that the NATO alliance is obsolete? Because these are countries that are depending today on the NATO alliance for their security against what they see as a very real and immediate Russian threat. So those are hard questions that these countries and their close allies are going to want to have answered.
Yeah, we're going to talk to GPS's Fareed Zakaria about this later on in the next hour. Jim Shudo, thanks very much. Back with the panel. Maggie, this was some of your reporting as well about the difficulty some have had in trying to actually get in contact with Donald Trump. That's, again, something Donald Trump pushed back in the New York Times about today, saying essentially he's talked to plenty of foreign leaders, not really responding to the idea that they're hard to reach.
This is a technique that Donald Trump used throughout the campaign and will clearly use throughout the transition, and I assume his presidency, which is saying something that actually the story didn't actually say.
Attacking you for something the story didn't say.
Right, and then you get people to argue over that as opposed to what was actually said. So what we said, not that he didn't talk to people, but that they had an unconventional time reaching him, such as dialing up Trump Tower cold. Reuters confirmed this on their own. There was some report about someone, I think in Australia, getting Trump's cell phone from a golfer who knew Trump. I mean, this is not normal protocol. And the concern is not just protocol for protocol's sake. It's that these are not secure lines. It's what kind of conversations these are taking place on what phones. The Clinton campaign had spent a lot of time trying to figure out what the protocol was going to be for how she would handle calls from world leaders. They're not the only campaign that has ever done that. Again, this is not just a campaign that wasn't expecting to win, but they are still kind of stumbling into how to do this going forward.
Maria, is that what it is? I mean, you're a Democrat, not a Trump supporter. Is that what it is? They're just sort of the unexpected position that they now find themselves in and sort of playing catch-up, or is there a larger problem?
Well, I think that's part of it, and I think, to be completely realistic, given that nobody there, at least, Trump himself, has never been in government, I think that we should give him at least a little bit of time to figure this out. I can't even believe I'm saying this. But
do you want to move over to this stage?
But I think the concern is that what we are seeing now isn't just sort of disarray because you need some time to figure things out. I think the bigger problem here is that because he likes to be unconventional, that really does foment uncertainty in the world stage and with these world leaders. Well, if he's unconventional about how I can even get in touch with him, what is it going to mean for the relationships that he's going to need to continue to move forward on the global stage and on the global arena? And I think furthermore, just very quickly about the issue that we were talking about earlier, unconventional is one thing, but bringing in your son-in-law and the whole lot of conflict of interest that Trump himself has, I think that is the biggest concern for the American people and people that are looking at this as like, and you guys were worried about Hillary Clinton and a conflict of interest? Are you kidding me? Look at what's before you. We don't know what's in his taxes. We don't know what relationships he has with all of these foreign governments that he now perhaps owes tons of money to. And he's going to be in a position to make laws, regulations, and implement who knows what kinds of executive decisions that could benefit them.
And I can imagine some Trump supporters hearing this and saying, you know what, maybe a little fear on the part of some of the folks overseas, our allies overseas, or, you know, kind of uncertainty. Maybe that's okay to kind of keep them on their toes.
Well, I think the operative word there is allies. These are supposedly our friends. So hopefully they shouldn't feel uncertainty. They shouldn't feel fear. I wish he would spend more time combating Putin, combating ISIS, combating Kim Jong-un than he does combating the New York Times. I mean, this is a guy who has been in office now, has been president-elect for 7 days, and has been tweeting repeatedly about the New York Times. Stop being obsessed about a newspaper in the United States. They're not your enemy. There's people who are hacking into our electoral system that are our enemy, and you need to start focusing on that. Look, I actually welcome the idea of his son-in-law coming into the White House. I prefer him to a white supremacist, anti-Semite, and
but you're getting both.
I think you need. No, he's an Orthodox Jewish. I think you need a Trump whisperer. I think you need a Trump manager. I think Jared Kushner, and everybody I know who knows him tells me he's a very smart guy, very grounded, discreet, focused, serious, and I think he's got his father-in-law's ear, and if he can advise Trump, restrain Trump, discipline Trump, contain Trump, without Trump realizing he's being restrained, contained, and disciplined, that's a very good thing for America.
Well, also, I mean, what reporting is that's also part of the role that Steve Bannon played in the campaign, sort of trying to get Donald Trump to not tweet some things and successfully do that, although for obviously he brings with him a whole other but Anna raises an interesting point about, you know, Donald Trump's obsession with media coverage and watching television, watching cable news, obviously reading the New York Times or reading all the reporting. Most presidents, at least that I can remember in modern times, have not done that. I mean, President Obama talked about not really watching on a daily basis, you know, cable news. I think George W. Bush didn't either. At a certain point, do you think Donald Trump stops doing that? Can he stop doing that, Jeff?
Sure, I think he can.
Really?
Stop it.
With or without the needed medication.
But the one thing I would say is that President Obama was, whether he watched it or not, was obsessed with Fox News. He was obsessed with talk radio. Bill Clinton was obsessed with...
Well, right, they're critical of it, but they're not listening to it constantly.
They're not responding.
I mean, to have the president-elect tweeting about the New York Times, you know, tweeting about...
But I think that this is part of his appeal, to be perfectly candid. I think that when
you don't see it as a slight character flaw for a president, a potential danger that you're focused on. I mean,
no, seriously.
I know a lot of very famous people. I don't know of anybody who watches as much news about themselves and follows, probably has every magazine.
I think it helped him to do that. I mean, I think it helped him structure his campaign and what he was going to talk about, etc. I mean, the way
he was trapped on a plane a lot of the time, honestly. You know, when he was going to all these states, he really was trapped on a plane and watching it.
But plenty candidates are, and they were reading.
Okay, this is true.
Yeah.
But I think that he is going to become so busy, he will have to stop watching quite as much television. But I mean, it is very important to him to be up
in
on
touch.
He's got 4,000 appointments to fill. He's got a chaotic transition going on. How the hell can he not be that busy now?
No, but I think Monica's point is really interesting, and Maggie, maybe follow up on it. I mean, and Jeffrey, I think you mentioned this yesterday. Twitter is a way for him to feel in touch with people. There's large rallies, which, according to the reporting that I read in the New York Times, he wants to continue those. It's a way for him to feel in touch with people, and I guess watching the shows is as well.
It's a way for him to feel that people are hearing from him directly. It isn't even just being in touch with people. People felt like he was talking to them in this campaign. That's what Twitter did. That's what those rallies did. He communicated, regardless of what people think about the message, he did communicate very specifically to people.
Absolutely, and took
And
people
let
her finish.
I'm coughing so much I'm barely getting through the sentence. Let me do it. But it was also a way for him to get around the mainstream media. And so I think that what he has not figured out, and I was thinking about this last week, I thought about it again when Monica was talking, I don't think he realizes yet what his days are going to be like. The days of a president are very, very different than the days